Hello YouTube, Swiss Gear Labs here. Today I'm going to make a tutorial on bushcraft knots. If you're setting up a camp, you're using quite a considerable amount of knots, and knowing what knot to use in what situation will help you to make your camp more secure, and it will take less time to set it up, and especially it will be easier to undo the knots again. To attach your ridge line of the tarp, or for example your hammock as well, to a tree, I use a version of the Evenk knot or Siberian hitch. What I'm going to show you is not the actual Evenk knot, but is a version. I'm showing you how to tie the knots with a quite large rope, so you can really see how they're working. This knot is called anbindeknoten in German, and to tie it, you swing the rope around the tree and you bring the free end underneath the end where the load is going to be. Next, you're going to make a loop like that. Make sure that the ends that go around the tree are parallel and the free end is going to go underneath, and then you just bring in a bite like that, and that's your knot basically. To make sure that the knot is not released inadvertently, you bring the free end through the loop, and that will secure the knot. So if you pull here, it's not going anywhere, but if you pull the security out, you can pull on the knot and it's open. To achieve a nicely taut ridge line, I use the trucker's hitch. Trucker's hitch is designed or made to provide tension in a line. So you bring your rope around the tree, you make a loop, and very important now, you bring the end towards the tree through that loop and not the end towards the other knot. What you do next, you bring your free end through that loop, and then you have a nice pulley system to provide tension. To make the knot and secure the whole thing, you just pinch here and bring the free end through this. This allows you to create a considerable amount of tension, and it's all fast and quick release. You pull on this end, your knot is released, you pull on this end, and everything is undone. If you want to attach a line, for example this tarp line, to a tree or a tent peg, and at the same time you want to exert some tension, I use the Clove hitch with a slippery knot added to it. As opposed to the first knot that I showed you, this knot here, the Clove hitch, added with a slippery knot, allows you to create tension in your line. Now you bring the rope around, you adjust your tension, and then you bring it around a second time. What you do, you lift your free end over the end where you have your tension, like this, and you bring it in between. What you end up with is this situation here. You can see that you have two ropes that are going around the tree that also release some pressure from the tree. It allows you to make sure that it doesn't slip down, and in this situation you just add a slippery half hitch, and that's it. And the slippery half hitch you can also secure, and here we go. Same knot when used with a tent pole and a thin line. Quite quick. You can also use the Tautline hitch to attach your tent line to the tent peg, and the Tautline hitch is actually adjustable, so you can adjust the tension in your tent line. Tautline hitch is an adjustable knot. you wrap it twice around the first rope. That's according Ashley's book of knots. I actually do it 3 times. That's not how they teach it normally. Then there's 2 versions. What I do most, I bring the rope parallel to the load carrying rope, go below and wrap around, so you can see that this line here is nicely parallel to the load carrying rope. This knot here tends to twist a bit less than the other versions. You can apply load, it will stick. If you grab the knot and move it along the line, you can actually move it around and it will hold again. You can tension your line and it will hold again. The other way to do it is you go around this way, the same rotation as the 3 before, and voila, that's your Tautline hitch. This version in my experience tends to rotate sometimes in this direction. You can also make a slippery Tautline, so it's quick release, by just pulling through one bite, and it will hold as well. The butterfly is very useful to hang up material on your material line. You can make several of them, and so the material is going to be nicely separated. You can also use it if you have a part of a rope that can't be used anymore, to actually take out this part of the rope from the load. This way to make the butterfly I learned on YouTube, actually, on a channel called Learn Bushcraft. Excellent channel, like it a lot. You make a coil, double loop basically, then you cross the 3 ends and you bring this end all the way underneath the crossed ends, and then you just pull it through up here. Oops, there's a leaf. That is the butterfly knot. Sometimes a bit difficult to make it the nice way, but this is really a knot where you can apply tension on both ends. That's really a loop where you can apply tension on the loop and on both ends here, these ends here. It's very useful if for example this part here of the rope would be totally damaged. You could take that part of the rope out of the rope. Of course you still have the knot, but it's very useful for that. To undo this knot after it has been under a lot of strain, you move these 2 loops here. They're very, even if they have been under very strong load, you just move them slightly on towards each other like this, and that allows you to pull all ends out. To attach a line or a rope to a loop, I use the Bowline, and the Bowline allows you to load the knot from one side, from this side here. I use an unusual way to make the Bowline. Here we have the free end, and this end here is the load carrying end. So what I do, I make a loop and I bring the load carrying end through that loop. I then take, without actually tensioning this part here, I then bring the free end through this loop here and just pull it through like this, and that gives you the Bowline. The Bowline is useful not to make a loop at the end of a rope. You can only put tension on this end here of the rope, not on this one here. To undo this knot, you grab this little loop here and do the same as with the butterfly. You just tilt it slightly. This allows you to pull everything apart from each other. In the situation where I need to join two ropes, for example if one rope is too short for an application, I use the sheet bend. The sheet bend is particularly well suited to join two ropes of different diameters, thinner and larger diameter. But it's also suited to join two ropes of the same diameter. I show you the one with two different diameters because it's important what end is doing what in this knot. So you take the thicker rope and you make I don't know what you call that, like a half loop. You bring then the smaller rope through that bend, go underneath and just bring it in between here. You then pull on the system and that's your knot, that's the sheet bend.